Welcome back to the SpeakInC.O.A.D podcast. This is Code. I'm sitting here with Chente the homie and TBD, Theodore Dy-NO-Mite himself, as we talk a little bit more about the train derailments, the Chinese weather balloons, and what we think that their plan could have been for this and what was to come out from this. We also talk about the triangle of manifestation, which is the throwing up the rock like The Rock did in Black Adam, or like Jay-Z does in his videos. So we'll let you guys decipher what is real and what is not. So hope you enjoy the show. Sorry to go on a random tangent, taking this episode long.
A little bit, but speaking of tangent,
Okay.
my thoughts, because it's going to lead into our other topic we're going to talk about.
Your T's and P's.
My T's and P's.
Your thoughts and prayer.
I have lots of those.
Keep them.
Us and other people are talking more about the train derailments. I mean, they've covered it in the news, but it was like a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
Like the week of, the week after, gone. I mean, there's still talks here and there, but it's not much big news anymore. Because at the same time that happened, we had a balloon flying over Alaska and Canada and most of the United States. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we had unidentified objects being shot down, like 4 objects outside of the balloon?
They were like size of a car.
Yeah. And so at the same time the trains are happening, instead of looking at the ground, now everybody's looking up in the sky. Are those UFOs? Are those aliens? Are those secret technology from other countries spying on us?
And the news have been telling people it was a UFO. When has the news ever told people that there's UFOs?
When the government came out and admitted they were aliens 2 years ago.
But I mean, like all the times before, you had the conspiracy theorists that were like, hey, there's a UFO. I saw a UFO. And they go, you're just a conspiracy. You're a crazy person. They get labeled as a crazy person so that their ideas and their opinions get bypassed. But then when it's proven fact, and then it's all of a sudden the government's releasing stuff, that's when I'm starting to be skeptical. Like, I don't think the government's going to tell us when UFOs are coming, and if they're from extraterrestrial.
I think they will if it distracts us. Because like I was saying, these unidentified objects, the Chinese spy balloon that was shot down, those happened all at the same time as the train derailments.
Yeah.
So even though the train derailments were big news, most of the stuff I encountered hearing people talk about and looking online was everybody talking about the spy balloon. Everybody talking about these objects and the fact that we can't find wreckage or there's too many pieces to figure out what it was.
Yes.
And there was less and less about the train derailments. Especially the fact that it's 24 just this year. Yes. We're just now into March. We're 3 days into March. Mm-hmm. So those 24 happened between January and February.
Yeah.
Why are there so many that fast? If you said in the whole year of 2023 we had 24 derailments, that would make sense to me. Yep. They were spread out. But for there to be, again, I may be saying the wrong number, but I swear it was 24 train derailments in just 2 months. Yeah. And then at the same time those are happening, we have stuff in the air giving us to look the other way. Yep. So I can believe they would release information about aliens because that'll get us talking. That'll get us to not pay attention until laws being passed.
It's the magic. It's the distraction. Like,
do not
look over in or look over in this hand, and then you're actually like fiddling with stuff over here and making the magic trick actually happen. And then you go, oh, look over here, and then they're like, what the heck? And then you're doing something up here, and then they're constantly switching back and forth.
Exactly, because like you said, we don't know what other chemicals were in these other train derailments.
Yeah.
So if we're too busy wondering about aliens, wondering about other countries spying on us, we're not worried about other people getting sick and affected by whatever happened.
Well, one of the things that they mentioned, not to cut you off,
it's too late, I'm leaving.
I'm so sorry. They said that things are coming out about the Epstein trial, or the Epstein cases. So, like, people that are getting named, like, they just named who the heck did they just name? Jim Carrey was named on the Epstein log, and I think
I find that a cracker shit.
I think that you are not quite a confused.
No, because have you ever listened to some of Jim Carrey's interviews?
Yes, but it's the symbolism in plain sight. They have to show you what they're doing. So, for example, if they believe in karma, that's what a Satanist believes in usually. So, what they have to do is, say, for example, you have a bushel of apples and they're poisonous. Now, I eat an apple, and you don't tell me they're poisonous. I die. You now killed me, so that's bad on you. So, what you have to do is, you could have those apples, and you could say poisonous apples. I go up and I eat one, and I die. I killed myself, and you're scot free. So they have to do things to let you know. They have to put things out there in plain sight. And correct me if I'm wrong, Chente, because I feel like you're better on this with the symbolism stuff. Is he asleep?
No. I was waiting for you to go.
Sorry, I thought he fell asleep. I was like, did we lose him? So it's like a karma thing. They have to show, like there will be times where he does an interview and he goes, "Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is?" And he's making like the Illuminati fingers or like the diamond or whatever. And then Jimmy Kimmel is like, "No, I don't know what that is." And he goes, "Yeah, you know what it is." And then he goes, "Ah," and he like licks through his fingers.
Yeah.
And some people will be like, "Oh, he was doing a vagina," but that's not what he was doing. He was doing the eye of Horus, right, for the top of the pyramid for the Illuminati.
So you all seen that? Yep.
So, like, have you ever seen the movie? Well, we could get into a totally different symbolism episode for sure. But like, have you seen Black Adam?
Yes, with Rock.
Yes. Have you seen it, Chente?
Yeah.
So like that kid, he goes like that. And he makes the triangle above his head, and he gets everybody to do that triangle. That's the Illuminati symbol. That's the rock from Jay-Z. You know, everybody throws up the rock, but they're throwing up that symbol, but it's just a slight difference to make it seem like, oh, it's a rock, it's a diamond. You know, it's like, no, he was throwing, it's Rockefeller. He's throwing up the freaking Illuminati symbol.
I always thought that.
No, his is like this. That's a diamond cutter. That's different. I don't believe DDP's a part of the Illuminati at all. No. But
what I was saying is, because I think we touched about this in the previous episode.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can too.
But real quick, if I could just circle back, the triangle. That's the triangle of manifestation.
Okay. And each side is like a different symbol, I think.
Yeah.
Like it makes up 3 parts. Like there was a picture.
Rihanna did it at the Super Bowl.
Yes, but I mean, like a lot of people throw that up, but the triangle makes up a huge portion of the occult and the Illuminati and stuff like that. Like you could draw a triangle. You could draw just like not the lines, but the point. You could do a 3 points for each triangle. You could draw a point slightly lower, and you could draw that same point to that point to that point, and then pick another middle point.
Okay.
So you could pretty much pick the middle point of each line of each triangle, and then just draw a different triangle with that, and do the middle line, and it will just make tons and tons of thick triangles. It's pretty cool. I'll try to download it and post it in the Discord.
Like we did that in
No. You think so?
I feel like it.
They call it something, but I don't know. I think the triangle is like a huge symbol.
Oh, I'm not saying geometry is like occultist. I'm saying we may have made something similar.
But that could
learning geometry.
That could have easily been a skill that the Anunnaki taught us. Yes. The numbers portion of it. Everything has like numbers and letters and all this stuff. We could get into that definitely later. But the other thing too with the circle back, the Chinese balloon, it was what did you say? Who manned it? Didn't you say that somebody was flying them? They didn't their wheel.
You're talking about the UFOs around it.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
But I thought you said like the hamsters. Or was that the train derailment? Do you remember the hamsters derailed the train?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was the hamsters derailed the train because they were running on no wheels.
Yes, that's what it was. Okay. So, sorry. I'm looking at my notes. I'm like, what is this about? I can't remember. And I deleted that episode too, so I love deleting episodes if you couldn't tell. It's the best thing in my life, I'll tell you. So anyway, with the Chinese balloon, my take on it is people were like, well, what if... They're like, first of all, they're like, why didn't they blow it up when it was going across Alaska. The Alaskan Air National Guard reached out to the DoD. And they go, hey man, we got this balloon here. Like it's coming close. It's coming from Russia. Like what should we do? And they go, just leave it be. Don't touch it. And they're like,
they shot it down as soon as it got done crossing the U.S.
Well, they should have shot it down before it even crossed the waters, to get into the U.S. like ocean. So they go, just leave it. It goes from Alaska into Canada. It was in Canada for like 5 days, and then by the time it got into the United States, it was in Montana. That's when Canada realized that it was in their airspace.
So for 5 days, Canada didn't know that they had a balloon floating over their country.
And I feel like that's like a dereliction of duty. You should be just drives me nuts how like
they were too busy with sticks.
Yes, like I think that's just such a cop out and an excuse. Like, oh, we didn't even see it up there. It's like, really? That's where I think they work alongside China.
They were dealing with the cocaine bear.
The cocaine bear. Oh, I'm down to watch that and do a whole symbolism episode if there's one. No, but so it gets into the United States, right? Well, Montana, we have a whole area that they have like a big Air Force base there, I think, or Army base there, and that's where we hold our nukes. So this spy balloon supposedly was and the spy balloon thing isn't like a new thing. It's not China did it first. They're doing it to us right now, and this might be the first time we caught it. Who knows if people are looked up and they go, oh, that's just the moon. Or it's flying over at nighttime and we don't even see it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't have lights, then we wouldn't even notice. But the United States created this. The United States has done this to multiple countries prior to this. This is just
that was our balloon?
No. But this is just the first time that we've caught it from another country doing it to us. We've done spy balloon stuff. We sent pilots over to freaking Russia and they've blown them out of the sky, and then they have them in prison over in Russia still. Like there's people that were part of like they were spying on Russia and stuff, or they spied on other countries and they've gotten caught and just killed or put in jail, and we never have a mention of it in the news or anything. But with the spy balloon, I had a few different theories of this on my own. I was like, well, what if they shoot it down and it releases a new type of disease? What if all the hazmat stuff was in something like that and then it comes down on everybody?
In hopes they shut it down.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? Remember earlier you said they were like playing the train derailments?
Yes.
What if, like, saying what you were saying, what if that was the plan and then they backed out?
Yeah.
What if the plan was,
because people caught the balloon?
Because they caught it, or because they came up with something different to do?
Yeah.
So they derailed these trains, and then they were like, well, we'll shoot this one down here, and we'll shoot this one down here. And whatever chemical is in the balloon interacts with the chemical on the ground.
Well, I was thinking it could have been a whole different type of like new COVID.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
how do we know that the vinyl chloride doesn't mix with whatever is in, if there were chemicals in the balloon?
Yeah.
And that's the activator to create this new disease.
I gotcha.
Because you know how they say COVID was man-made?
Yeah.
So what if they took an existing disease and they go, well, if we mix this chemical with it,
and then it just mixes in the air with the rain, and it will just get everybody sick.
So no one will put two and two together. Oh, that had to be from the balloon. By the time people start getting sick, the balloon was months ago. The train derailments were months ago.
That's true. Or they start getting some sort of lesions. They go, oh, monkeypox. You're like, oh, come on, really?
Or they blame the train derailment, but they don't realize it was a two-pronged attack. Again, this is all just theory.
No, that's cool.
But
I never thought of that.
Then, like, whoever was in charge of it goes, we got a better plan. This may not be what we want to do yet. And then they wait till that gets shot down there. And then I can't even remember where the other unidentified objects got shot down.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah. And then my other theory was, like, with the balloon. So, like, they fly across, they get all the satellite information, right? Mm-hmm. Once they're already across our country, like as the balloon is over that specific area, they're sending all that stuff back to China. So by the time they would have shot it down, China would have already had all their information that they wanted.
Yes.
They got everything that they needed. So the other theory that I had was, what if it was an EMP? What if they would have shot it down, it would have came and it would have been like a huge electromagnetic field explosion. It's electromagnetic propulsion?
I know it's electromagnetic.
Something
I
like
do
that.
not know what the P stands for.
But what if that would have came down and hit the grid? And just shut all the grids down. Yeah. So like, and because it was so high, it could have had a huge impact. And like, I feel like that's our next type of warfare. So it's like the next balloon, if there was one, that could be like the one that the big daddy of all, you know. So,
yeah. Because we are very dependent on technology nowadays.
Yeah.
So you shut down power, there's no GPS, there's no what, ground to air missiles.
Well, not only that, but like all the planes are shut down. Yep. There's going to be no flights.
Yep. And I can't even say that the government probably has shielding for all their stuff.
Yeah,
but for
the ours. Yeah.
But for the day-to-day stuff, think about it. We have tons of people with electric cars. Even normal cars are mostly electric.
All the computers in the cars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
batteries.
Who's going to go anywhere?
Yep. Oh.
So you can't like get your troops together to deploy them if they don't have vehicles that come to you.
Yeah, and who has horses now?
Amish.
And the rich. Those are the only two people that have horses, or those two types of people. Yeah. So it's crazy how back in the day everybody had horses, and the rich had cars. Now everybody has cars, and only the rich have horses.
It's funny how like everything flip flops.
Yeah. No, exactly. We read each other's minds. We're telepathically.
But even in like day-to-day life, if you look about some of the stuff that is stereotypical now, that like people use to like profile different races, and then you go back and look how it became like bad. It started off as something good, and somebody goes, "Oh yeah, that's what we're going to use to make fun of them," and then now it's a negative connotation for that group or that race.
Yeah.
So I can see the same thing, you know, like
I love spaghetti.
I love spaghetti. But same thing when it goes like, oh yeah, we're rich elite. You guys can ride your little horses and we'll have a car. But then they're seeing like, well, they're having fun, and then they're making all these money. They're breeding horses and selling horses,
or using
and racing horses
farming
for farming, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, we can't have that. And now we have tractors and all type of equipment where you negate oxes and horses. I brought oxes in because usually people have oxes too.
Well, even the chickens portion too. Like people aren't allowed to have chickens here, like in our cities and stuff like that, because they say that they're just not allowed. You're not allowed to have like a farm animal if you don't live on a farm. And then what happens is they said if everybody had like 2 chickens in their household, it would cut the landfills in half because you would give all your scraps to your chickens. That would be the food for your chickens. Okay. And then it would completely destroy the egg industry. It would be unnecessary. Nobody would need to worry about an egg industry paying $4 a dozen, or $7 a dozen.
There's 2 things that I know, I feel they set in place because they know us too well.
Yeah.
Laziness. One, the maintenance of cleaning up after the chickens, feeding the chickens, caring for the chickens. Yeah. Not everybody's going to want to do that. 2, don't tell me I lost my train of thought in the middle of saying it.
Sorry, I breathed and you're like, I forgot. It's all that aluminum in the air.
Yes. Taking care of the chickens and raising the chickens.
Yeah.
2, laws are in place, like you said, but we're not allowed to own things like that. So unless you have a farm, or unless you have acres, or unless you
But you don't need a ton of space. Like chickens are free. They could be free range. They could walk in your yard. They could come back if they know you're going to get fed in your yard.
Yeah, but
or put in like a cage and stuff in there too.
True, but just like with dogs, we have leash laws and that. So how many other people will complain about your chicken?
Yeah.
Or how often would because this happens with ranchers, they steal each other's cattle. How often would someone else steal?
It's Yellowstone.
Yeah, it's not Yellowstone. But that's an example of they saw how well they were rich with their cars being the elite.
Yeah.
They saw how well the people with the horses were still doing. They were breeding them. They were using them for farming. Okay, hey, we need to put a stop to this. That's when I was saying, now we have tractors and different things to do all the work the horses would do. Now they're selling horses, buying equipment. I'm not saying all farmers sell all the horses, but now they have less horses because they got equipment to replace the horses.
Yeah.
Now all the rich people have the horses because they saw how lucrative it was. Mm-hmm. They saw how we can't let them prosper and catch up to us. So sometimes I think technology is put into place to hold us back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's snoring. He's sleeping. No, I'm kidding. And then, what do you think, Chente? Did you have any ideas on the balloon or anything, or any theories or any opinions?
I don't, man. I kind of think it was there as like a sleight of hand. Look at this now.
Yep.
instead of what's going on, but I really don't have anything to connect it with. Like you said, maybe the Epstein list, maybe to distract from the derailments. Because that's a lot of shit. Just the balloons and UFOs.
Yeah. And again, like, all this stuff happened in the same, like, 2-3 week period.
Yeah.
And again,
and then the Super Bowl.
During the Super Bowl. So we have the Super Bowl, train derailments, and spy balloons and UFOs all in the same 1 month, 2 month period.
Like the Super Bowl, and you're like, oh, we gotta fight against human trafficking. They go, oh, but there's a balloon. It's an unidentified flying object. Like, oh yeah, I forgot about human trafficking.
Did you guys forget about the chemical spillover?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, I was talking to somebody at work, and they said they read something where some of the people they sent to help do the cleanup are starting to get sick.
Oh, like the female people?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you said female, but you said female.
Yeah, so did I.
Like, what female people?
Yeah.
But
okay,
female.
Code. Okay.
The vagildos.
The vagildos. But yeah, he goes, and which is weird because I'm pretty sure they're all wearing the highest grade suits they're supposed to wear. And how are you still
N95 masks?
Just one cloth mask.
That's what they should do. They should make them wear those and be like, you know what? These work so well. Let's see how this works now.
Exactly.
You son of a bitch.
But they're down there cleaning whatever they're cleaning and somehow still getting sick. I mean, it could be as simple as they didn't fully decontaminate and then they took off the suit, they touched in something or still breathed in chemicals, and that got them sick. But if not, and it's still somehow seeping through the suit, seeping through the respirators,
it's going to cause everybody to get sick.
Exactly. These people are like in the, I think the word I'm looking for is epicenter of where it happened, cleaning up, wearing protection. That's the skin.
You're like, that's epidermis.
I'm glad you said it because I was trying to think like that is a word, but I'm like, what did? But think about it. So they're in the middle. They're in the red zone.
Yeah.
Wearing protective gear.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Chente?
Ground zero.
Ground zero. They're in ground zero cleaning.
Getting all types of AIDS.
All types of AIDS.
This says the gas has what toxicologists describe as a mild sweet odor and can cause dizziness, headaches, and drowsiness when inhaled in short term, and a rare form of liver cancer after chronic exposure.
Now,
I thought that was called marijuana.
Marijuana.
So not to get too off, hear me out here. You have...
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah. So you have people that had to take something, right? To keep their job, or they had to take something to keep their livelihood. They get this passport so they could travel to visit places, right? You're having all these weird side effects from that. Then they started claiming that people were having heart issues from climate change. Then all of a sudden, these things are going to happen now with our climate and our weather and this type of hazmat stuff. I think this is the way that they're covering their own asses for saying that this shot might have caused cancer. This is going to cause cancers, and they're going to blame this on what's happening to people after they got vaccinated.
Oh,
and I'm not even speaking in code. They didn't get vaccinated. They got freaking vaccinated.
Well, Code, you and Chente are well-traveled people. And you were just talking about climate change.
Yeah.
I know this small little area here, and it snows quite frequently, especially this time of year. Yeah, we're getting 60-degree days and rain. Southern California is getting snow. Have they ever gotten snow or blizzards in Southern California before?
Nope. The coldest I've ever seen out there when I was living in LA was like 37 degrees, 36 degrees. My windshield was kind of frosty. That's it.
But no snow, no ice.
Unless you're in the mountains where they create the snow.
They create the snow?
Yes, my friend used to create snow for Big Bear because they didn't get snow.
So what did they use to make the snow?
They used these machines, and it would pump out these things, and it would make it so it would make the snow. So when people are like, "There's no way they control the weather," are you freaking kidding me? They're doing it right now.
Was the snow even cold?
Goodbye.
Yeah, no, it's snow. It was snow. It has to be cold to be snow. It's not the flaky plastic that
well,
they
that's
do
why I
in
was
the
asking.
movies.
This is like
he's like, you like lick it, and you're like, ah, this is gross.
That's what I'm like. What the hell?
Yeah.
Like,
he's like vinyl hydroxychloride. No, so if that's the case, and now there's people in Tahoe, which is Northern California, closer to Northern California to Nevada, but they are getting tons and tons of snow. They're getting like blizzards out there.
All the weather we usually get this way.
They're getting like 8 feet of snow. No, like even way more. So I'm like, you guys really think that this is really a thing? Like, you don't think that the government's like pulling all the strings and like trying to figure out every which way so that way they're not getting blamed for everything else right now?
Isn't Texas also getting snow too? Or are they just getting?
They had like a weird ice storm like a couple years ago.
And has that happened there before?
No, that was like the first time. And
just within the last few years, I feel like they've been getting weird ice storms.
Yeah, and what's crazy is they went to mostly windmills and stuff for electricity, right? So what happened was the windmills froze.
I like windmills better.
Yeah, the windmills. They're windmills on wheels. They froze, so that way they weren't able to propel and make power to warm. So what people had to do, they had to fill up the helicopters with fuel that they didn't want to freaking use, and then they had to go and spray fuel on top of the freaking ice on the windmills to get it to defrost.
Oh,
and then they're like, I don't know why gas is so expensive. I'll tell you why. This is why. Not to get political, but I'll tell you why. So and here's my last thing on this part. So we went from planes, trains, Chinese air animal balloons, and
hamsters creating snow.
Hamsters creating snow. Krampus and
windmills.
Yeah, windmills. That's gonna be a shirt. It's gonna just be 2 windmills on the nipples.
2 windmills.
It's gonna make up the areolas.
Oh.
So.
Thought for the day. If the words you spoke appeared on your skin, would you still be beautiful?
Thank you guys for listening to episode 7, part 2. We will bring to you guys part 3 right after this. Hope you enjoyed the show. See you next time.